to Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast.
We are two Southern sisters rewatching The Hills and chatting about it for your entertainment.
I am Susan, and I'm a 35-year-old photographer.
I'm Jem, and I'm a rock star.
Today we are discussing Season 2, Episode 10, Apology Not Accepted. So we start out this episode at the Hillside Villas, where Heidi breaks the news to Lauren that Spencer wants to move in.
And she's like, yeah, Lo already told me. So anticlimactic.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Jem, did you notice in this scene that Lauren is loading up the dishwasher while Heidi stands and watches her? I feel like we're back in Season 1.
I didn't notice that, but typical of you to notice that because we know how good I am at loading dishwashers and being in kitchens in general. Or maybe you don't know and you don't need to know.
I'll give you a hint. She doesn't do it.
I do not. I don't even go in the kitchen. What is that room? That room that holds like my water and my wine?
Your bar holds your wine.
My bar holds my wine, my fridge holds my white wine, and my freezer holds my vodka and ice cream and all my ice packs for my ailments.
That's true. Jem, did you also notice that Heidi is starting to look different?
Yeah, she's morphing. And I did get a little bit of a Southern lady guilt because her hair looked so pretty in this episode and it was like super bright. And it made me realize I really need some highlight. But I have no time for that. It's either get my hair touched up or record Words Unspoken, the Hills podcast with Jem and Susan. And I have chosen the latter.
Wisely, I might add.
I agree. So they're talking about the moving in together, and then Heidi dramatically is still able to break some news about it in that she is not going to do it.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wait, what? Did I miss something in this episode?
Susan, you just drifted away to another land just now. Where'd you go? Where'd you go, Susan?
Far away.
Far away.
Far away. I just got home from work. I'm a little tired, Jem.
I can't say the same.
I didn't have a lazy half day like you did, sitting on your couch eating bonbons and drinking mint juleps.
Well, I did sit on my couch, but there were no juleps or bonbons. There was mint chocolate chip ice cream and ramen, and I watched the Chess Sessions hearings on CNN for 5 hours.
Okay, that was pretty boring. I think you should have just agreed with the bonbons and the mint juleps, Jem.
I'm so embarrassed now that I said that out loud.
I like how Elsie was like, if a guy asked me to move in after we'd only been together a couple months, I would straight up be freaked out. I like that she said that. It was like so shady of her.
She was minimizing Spencer and Heidi's love.
But she's right.
No, she's totally right. But then Heidi's like, but I'm not going to move in because, and there's something about like, oh, we can't have your 21st birthday without
being roommates.
Us living with them. Some nonsense that really means nothing at this point in their relationship.
And then Lauren has words of wisdom. A good roommate is like a good pair of jeans. You hang on to them no matter what.
But Lauren, are you still wearing your low-rider boot-cut jeans? Do you still have them in your closet, Lauren, with your giant belt? Doubt it.
I thought you were going to say with her giant belly.
Oh, well, she does have one of those now, too. Newsflash, she's pregnant, everybody, if you didn't know.
We're not fat-shaming Lauren.
And you don't know that Lauren Conrad is pregnant. We're excited that you just learned, but maybe you should be paying more attention to the important news in the world, like the pregnancies of the Hills.
So then we're back at the Hillside Villas, but this time we're at Audrina's apartment. Heidi comes over, and it turns out they're planning a surprise party for Lauren's 21st birthday.
You know who's watching over this entire planning sesh?
Audrina's dramatic headshot with her arms over her head dramatically.
Yes, the headshot. It's like her only piece of art in the whole apartment. The rest of it looks like a staged, like, you know, sampler platter apartment. What do you call it when you visit and they try to get you? What's it called?
Did you say a sampler platter apartment?
Yeah.
Jem, have you been drinking wine again before we record the podcast?
I've had no wine. I told you I watched CNN for 5 hours. I'm slap happy.
So Heidi has the bright idea of deciding to bail in the middle of dinner to trick Lauren. I'm using quotation marks, Jem.
Giant air quotes from Susan across the Skype universe right now.
Jem, the way the relationship is these days, what do you think of this idea?
This is literally the worst plan in history of human civilization. And yes, I am counting the Greeks, the Romans, and others who have risen and fallen over time. This plan could not be worse. I will give her this. It's a very believable plan because it's something she actually would do in real life, but it's too real to make it a part of a birthday surprise because that's a lot to come back from.
And I feel like they're a little too fragile for that.
Yes.
But it was funny because Heidi was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine if I actually did that? I would be the worst person ever. I'm thinking, that's totally something you would do. You've done it before. Not for her 21st birthday, but she's definitely bailed on Lauren a ton of times for Spencer. So that's just like, I'm like, that's not the best idea. I have a feeling that might have been the producer's idea, Jim.
Yeah, Heidi's bailed on basically everything in life thus far. I wonder if she's ever going to bail on her relationship with Spencer. Stay tuned to find out.
Oh, Jim. Oh, Jim. So then we head to Teen Vogue. Whitney is smirking. You can tell she's in on this plan.
And are they wearing the same outfit in this scene? Because I'm 99.9% sure that they are.
It really looked like they were.
I mean, there were a few outfits to choose from in 2007, Susan. Even if you worked at Teen Vogue. Whitney's like, oh my gosh, 21, that's just a big one.
I am so much older than you, so I've already passed that mark. I am the olden woman here, and you are just a sweet young girl who isn't yet 21. I'm dispensing you great advice because I'm so much older than you.
I've been an intern for 8,000 years.
Yes, I would have liked to have a little bit about her going off into a new career path because she just had her moment of clarity recently about not wanting to be an intern anymore. But no, this episode is all about Lauren and drama. So then we head to Bolt House.
I was like, thank God, back to Bolt House where I belong. And I waited and waited and waited and waited for Brent Bolthouse, and he never appeared. But I got an even better reward. And what do you think that was, Susan?
Elodie.
Epic Elodie eye roll.
That was hilarious. All Heidi had to do was be like, hey, Spencer. And she just shoots her a look like, are you serious? It was so funny.
Put yourself in Elodie's shoes in that moment. Like, how do you refrain from kicking the back of Heidi's chair or something? How annoying.
We can't forget the first time that Elodie met Spencer was the Max incident of 2007.
Oh, was that when he yelled at her on the street? And he said we have beef in the streets.
Yeah, and remember that was the first time she met him. So that is the first time is what you always remember. So she was never going to like him no matter what because she was introduced to that extra horrible version of him.
Yeah, that's a really awful first impression, having beef in the streets of LA.
And then all of a sudden, Jem, who should show up but Jen Bunny?
I kind of wish that we had a song for Jen Bunny, whenever she appears. It wouldn't be the Debbie Downer noise, but it would be a similar sound. Because it's just darn it, Jen Bunny, why are you at Bolt House with your slouchy, black, shiny hobo purse?
So inappropriate to go to someone's workplace like that. And I think that this is actually, I feel like a really real moment because I don't think Heidi knew she was coming. She seems really caught off guard. The way she drags her away from her desk, you can tell she's just super embarrassed, which is funny because, you hear a lot about the fake internships they had. But it's things like that that make me think that Heidi really did work there because why else would she be embarrassed that someone was coming to her workplace?
Can I do a dramatic reenactment of their dialogue when Jen Bunny arrives?
Sure, Jem.
Heidi, I'm kind of at work. Jen Bunny, what? Heidi, I'm so busy.
Awkwardly.
Those are their opening lines to one another. It's off to a great start. You can tell this is going to be a good, deep conversation between these two.
And Jen Bunny says, I haven't talked to my best friend of 15 years in 3 weeks.
How can it be? Y'all have never fought before, except that didn't they before this not speak for 3 years? So just saying.
I know, Jem. I can't keep up with all this drama.
And then the conversation ensues where Jen comes off as just freaking out, desperate, stalking, all the words, whatever. I think you and I would both agree that this is a little bit of a setup, but I have 50% pity for Jen Bunny in this scene and then 51% being annoyed. So it's 101 total. Okay, so we get into this Brody conversation.
And Jen Bunny calls him sloppy thirds.
Ooh, which was so awkward. And then Heidi's I think it's code that you don't hook up with friends, exes, or hookups. But Heidi doesn't want to be in this conversation. Her eyes are shifty. She's looking everywhere except at Bunny. Bunny's having a full-on meltdown about the situation. And Heidi's I need to get back to work. She's probably worried that A, Elodie will judge her with a second eye roll, or B, Ron Bolthouse will come out and yell at her, which didn't happen. And that sucks for me.
I wish he had.
No, I miss him so much. When will he be back?
Jem, I think we can both agree that we know the reason why Jen Bunny is here is because she wants to go to Lauren's birthday party.
Mm-hmm. She wants to be the surprise guest. Like, didn't Audrina show up to Heidi's birthday unexpectedly? Isn't that our most recent party crashing?
Oh, right. That's right. I forgot they were fighting.
Once again, someone's trying to be the Audrina, but nobody's Audrina except Audrina.
But so Jen Bunny thinks this whole situation was blown out of proportion, which I do not agree with.
The one blowing it out of proportion, Jen Bunny. It is already larger than life.
Heidi's like, keep me out of it. I don't want to be involved. I've told you and Lauren both that. Jem, can we sit back and think for a minute why this situation occurred and whose fault it actually was?
Heidi pushed it, and Spencer.
Exactly. It's totally her fault. I love how she's like, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Now you don't.
Never until the final second of the closing credits of this episode does Heidi or Spencer get any of the blame for this bunny sitch. So Heidi dismisses Jen Bunny, all but pushes her out the door, let's be honest.
By saying, busy, busy. And Bunny's like, huh, what? Oh, are you busy? Yeah, I'm at work. Oh, it was so awkward.
And Heidi says, maybe another place, another time, aka get out of my life, don't speak to me again. I caused the problems that I needed to cause between you and Lauren Conrad, so we good. Get out.
And before she gets ushered out by Heidi, she says, well, you know, I just came because I haven't been able to get a hold of anyone. Jen. There is a reason as to why you can't get a hold of anyone. They're ignoring your phone calls and texts. So then we go to the Hillside Villas. Lauren's reading on the couch. And Heidi comes in, bustling in. She's so excited for her hot gossip.
We spend an inordinate amount of time at Hillside Villas in this episode, and I'm not super crazy about that.
Agreed. Every time I had to write Hillside Villas for like my little scene switch, I was like, really? Why are we still here?
I was so exhausted from my Jeff Sessions grilling that I just wrote APT for apartment every time they were there because nobody has time to write Hillside Villas after watching CNN all day.
So Heidi tells Lauren what happened with Jen Bunny. Half of it is not true, by the way.
It is wildly exaggerated.
Wildly exaggerated. And Lauren gets all fired up about it.
Lauren's probably sitting there thinking like, wow, Heidi is such a strong and tough woman to like stand up for herself at Bolthouse when Jen Bunny shows up unexpectedly.
When she was more like, oh, I'm a scared rabbit.
Heidi was literally like staring into a corner, wishing for Elodie to come rescue her. She goes, I told Jen Bunny that it's really inappropriate for you to come to my work and do not come back. Susan, none of those words were said to Jen Bunny.
Not at all. But it was funny because Lauren's like, don't be so desperate. Do you not have any other friends? Chill out. Which I feel like was the meanest I've heard her be in a while. It was funny, though. It was true.
It was pretty mean.
It was mean, but it was true.
Like, Jen Bunny needs a new crowd.
I'm sorry, what Jen Bunny did, you don't do to your friend. That was completely inappropriate. She knew the whole time what she was doing. She enjoyed doing it, and she did it on purpose. So that is why I have no sympathy for Jen Bunny.
Heidi told us it was code.
That girl code. And Lauren says, I have too many good people in my life to deal with people like that. Silent message, Heidi, beware.
How many good people could you think of in that moment? Because I could only think of 1.5.
Yeah, I guess they're off-screen people. That's why they're good people, because they don't want to be on the show. So then the girls are getting ready in the apartment, which is always fun times. They're always doing their hair and makeup.
This is, for a hot minute, is super classic, fun, nostalgic scene. I mean, how many times were we getting ready in like our bathroom apartments and like yelling at each other, like, what are you wearing? And when will you be ready? Etc., etc. But then, of course, it just like spirals downhill very quickly into the elaborate plot.
This was the worst plot ever.
And Heidi, for all of her on-screen drama that she and Spencer are able to produce, isn't doing an amazing acting job and basically like runs away to avoid seeing Lauren. She runs out of the apartment.
But I also think that can be really realistic because Lauren's going to think she feels bad about it and she's embarrassed and she's just trying to get away from her. I think I would fall for that too. Like, it wouldn't even cross my mind, oh, she's planning this elaborate surprise party for me. So I think that works well, but that probably made Lauren like even more mad because she just kind of ran away. But I think it added a touch of genuineness to the situation.
Can we take an 07 moment to discuss Heidi's outfit? It does not stand the test of fashion time.
It definitely does not. But I'm almost positive you wore something exactly like that then.
Well, there was a situation. So it's like a black sequined shirt with kind of short sleeves, like cap sleeves, and it looks super cute. And then she turns around and there's like this giant like accent piece on the front of the shirt, and then it's like open, like cutting away at the belly button, like sweeping off to the side. It's literally like, it's not what I would call an eating shirt. Like I think a lot before I go out, like, is this going to be an eating shirt? Like, can I have a large dinner and still enjoy myself tonight? So technically it was an eating shirt because there's plenty of space, but like everyone would know your food baby existed.
Jim,
Yeah.
2 to 3 months ago, we went out and you wore a shirt that had no stomach, so I don't want to hear about it.
But it didn't have any stomach all the way around. Like, it was equally short. It didn't have, like, a peekaboo curtain surrounding the window of my belly button.
It was a crop top.
Ugh, I love that outfit.
I do not approve of your crop top. So Lauren is very upset, as we predicted with Heidi. And she says, "Stop leaving me for Spencer." But it's too late. Heidi has left her for Spencer. So Heidi immediately calls Audrina and says she fell for it. And she's giggling, and I'm just shaking my head like, no, that was a terrible plan.
I have 2 urgent observations from the scene, Susan. The first one is a technology alert.
Technology alert! Technology alert!
Everyone's using a Razor cell phone, and they all have that same ring, which I cannot replicate right now because I don't remember it, but they're all in their pink razors.
Of course they are.
How many days do you think they each had those razors before they snapped into a million pieces?
Oh, not long at all.
Also, Susan, there are 5 toothbrushes in Heidi's bathroom. What the heck? What if you came back from a late night at Ledoux and used the wrong one?
Yeah. Lauren immediately calls Audrina all upset and tells her what happened. She's like, I just can't believe Heidi did this to me. She's very upset. And Audrina's smirking and silently laughing on the other side. She's like, I'll take you out. Come over.
Susan, is Audrina really smirking or laughing or any other expression than the one expression Audrina has?
Okay, I might have exaggerated slightly.
You exaggerated greatly, kind of like Heidi's recap of Jen Bunny's visit to Bolt House.
So then we go to the party venue, and Heidi is being bossy and telling everyone what to do as Lo kind of looks annoyed in the corner.
When Heidi says, "Excuse me, can I have your attention, please?" Who did she remind you of in that scene? 100%.
You.
Yep.
So
guilty.
bossy, so annoying, and I would be Lo in the corner rolling my eyes.
You would be more like somebody who isn't in the scene, who like did a lot of work along with Heidi to get it ready and then didn't take any of the glory for it when the moment arrived. That would be more accurate.
So Lauren and Audrina are on the way to the party, and Lauren is pissed off. She's just talking about how mad she is at Heidi, and Audrina's like, yeah, 3 strikes and you're out. I'm like, Audrina, you know this is fake. Why are you encouraging her to fight with Heidi?
Let's not push this over the edge, Audrina.
Exactly. She's just kind of taking advantage of the situation.
Another 2007 moment. Does it feel weird to watch people drive to go out?
Oh, because now you Uber?
Yeah. Like, there's so many different ways to get out and about. Every time they're driving to go out, I just get a weird feeling like, I guess we used to do that.
I used to drive a lot and have to be the DD.
Well, me too. I've DD'd a time or 2 in my time.
Yeah, 1 or 2 times maybe.
Susan just gave me the most evil side-eye via Skype that has ever been given in the history of Skype.
This is very true. So then Lauren walks into the venue and everyone's like, surprise! And Jem, she doesn't really look that surprised.
Well, I mean, when you've got like a camera crew and stuff following you, nothing probably surprises you, and it may have been redone a few times.
That's true.
To be perfectly timed.
She does seem surprised to see Brody, though. Let's stop and have a quick discussion about blame.
Oh, for a minute, I thought you said Blaine like at Bolt House, and I got excited.
No, sorry.
I remembered he was
blame.
on.
When Lauren found out about Brody and Jen Bunny, she was mad at both of them, but she was more mad at Jen Bunny. Now, my question is this justified because Jen Bunny is her best friend and Brody's really just an acquaintance? So is it all right for her to be more mad at her very best friend for doing this than a guy she went out with like one time? Like, is it okay? Or is it not okay? Because as we know, in the majority of relationships in this day and age, when this kind of situation happens, People are always mad at the woman, but the man seems to always get a free pass, even though they're usually at the same type of blame. What do you think, Jem?
Well, as we know, Susan, men cannot control themselves and the decisions that they make. They are helpless Neanderthals with absolutely no idea how to navigate through the wilderness of mysterious women that they can't figure out. When a woman like Jen Bunny preys upon a Brody, how is he to resist? Oh, that was all like super incorrect. Hashtag Jem and Susan for social justice. I don't know. Heidi Montag made it all
Spoiler
happen.
alert.
Whoops. I think I just answered my question from earlier. So Spencer, the puppet master of all, you just snorted, manipulated Heidi into manipulating the wannabe Audrina named Jen Bunny into a slight hookup with Brody to destroy Lauren and Bunny's friendship over Brody. Bunny didn't get invited to the birthday party, but Brody did. So I think there's a little bit of awkwardness there, but like it's not like Lauren made the guest list. I don't know. Brody cut his hair off. I'm just mad at him this whole episode because he has no hair on his head. Like, what is up with that?
So then we just have a lot of party scenes of people laughing and talking and drinking and having fun. And Lauren says, I love you, Heidi. I was really mad at you, but I'm not anymore.
For now.
For now. So then Brody and Lauren sit down, and Brody's like, where's your best friend?
I bet I know where Jen Bunny is. She is probably walking into somebody's place of work at a very inopportune time.
So Lauren then breaks the news to him that they don't speak anymore. And you know what? I really do like Brody because his face does kind of fall and he looks really sad. And he's like, I'm sorry. He apologizes. And even though Lauren is like, it's not your fault, it was just nice of him to apologize.
It takes two to tango, Brody Jenner.
Yeah, I wouldn't have told him not to apologize, but I thought it was decent of him to do so.
He's always pretty decent in the show, so far at least.
Agreed. I always feel like he's one of the more rational people in the show. Either he's really good at how he portrays himself, or he's just more rational about certain things. But we'll talk a lot more about that like in season 5 and 6 when he's in it so much more.
Ooh, I can't wait. I missed those seasons. I didn't watch them at all, so I literally no idea.
Y'all, Jem doesn't even know who Stacy the bartender is.
I don't. And like we have this one friend who's always texting us about her, and I'm like, I literally don't know who that is, what it means, why it's so urgent, but apparently it's like a pivotal point, and I feel so bad I can't participate in the conversation. But hopefully soon I'll be able to, when we get to, what did you say, season 5?
It's like 5 or 6, yeah.
The year 2019, Jem and Susan of Words Unspoken Hills podcast will get to season 5 of The Hills.
We will be watching that first episode with Stacy the bartender together because I want to see your reaction live and in person when you find out who she is. Anyway, we can't talk about that right now, Jem.
Ugh, now I'm just going to binge the next
Don't watch ahead.
Okay, I won't.
And so everyone's gathered around, and Brody says, okay, let's do a birthday toast, Spencer. What?
No,
Spencer is the last person who should be given the birthday toast. However, Jem, Spencer comes through.
Or does he?
I think he does. So Spencer says, Lauren and I don't always see eye to eye, but the love of my life thinks she's the best thing ever, which means she's a pretty special person. Or something to that effect.
There's a little burn tucked in there, though, that's non-Lauren related. He says, Lo says, I'm not very smart.
Oh, I know, but at least it's not directed towards Lauren. He just can't help himself. I don't think he can be, sincere. You could tell that was actually really difficult for him to not say anything else that was negative. Like, he said, we don't see eye to eye, and then the thing about Lo is the only two, semi-negative things he said, but I was waiting, even though I've seen the episode before, I was waiting for him to end it with something mean, and so I was shocked when he didn't.
All throughout the scene, Lauren keeps winking and pointing at people.
I think she's had a few tasty beverages, Jem. So then we head to Cuvée, and Lauren is having lunch with Brody for some reason. I guess they've totally made up by now, and they're hanging out again for some reason. They start talking about Spencer's speech, and Brody's like, yeah, it was really good. And Lauren is like, really? And she's making fun of it. She didn't like it. I'm a little disappointed in you, Lauren. Your feelings for Spencer are clouding what really happened.
I like when Brody says Spencer's a big toaster.
Remember the Playgirl toast?
Rolling with the playmate.
Then they start talking about Bunny again. And apparently Bunny is telling people that she and Lauren were going to make up for her birthday and she would be there. And she's like, I didn't want her at my birthday. I knew that's what she was doing, Jim.
Literally, Bunny, you're so transparent.
So then we find out Bunny actually has a history of hooking up with other girls' boyfriends and making out with people who other people like, which includes
Jason.
J-Wall. Find out the scandalous story of the night Lauren told Bunny she liked Jason, and Bunny says, I've got your back, and then she goes and makes out with Jason, and then he kisses Lauren after.
So we didn't know this from Laguna Beach.
Apparently, I don't remember it being in Laguna Beach. I guess they kept that out of it.
I think I was thinking of Jessica, Jason's other girlfriend. Like maybe they made out, they both made out with him in the same night or something like that. And I was thinking of her. Do I need to rewatch Laguna?
You desperately need to rewatch Laguna Beach. That's a pivotal moment in the fashion show, Jim. The fashion show.
I don't remember the fashion show.
I have the Laguna Beach DVDs, seasons 1 and 2, because 3 is terrible and I don't acknowledge it, that you must borrow and you must watch it, Jim. And then you can stop asking me questions about Laguna Beach.
Next time I see you, will you bring me the DVDs, please?
Yes.
If the world knew the exchange of goods that passed between Susan and myself every time we see one another, it's ridiculous. It's like stuff we've left at each other's houses, things that need to be passed on to other people in the family, things we don't like anymore that we're giving to each other, important DVDs that we need to watch, like Laguna Beach, seasons 1 and 2 only. You would be shocked at the volume of trading going on between Jem and Susan of Words Unspoken in the Hills podcast.
So Lauren said all Jen Bunny had to do was be an honest person to me, and she wasn't. So dramatic. So then we go back to the Hillside Villas. Lauren's in the apartment alone, and the doorbell rings.
Colby Calais sets the scene in the background with her song Battle, who thumbs down from Jem, by the way.
And it's Jen Bunny.
Oh my gosh, she is so awkward. I cannot even look at the screen when she walks in the door.
Bunny, have some self-respect.
She's literally shrinking into herself.
She's like, can I come in and talk? And Lauren's like, whatever. She's so dismissive of her, but she lets her in. And they have the most awkward conversation of all time because Jen Bunny starts out by saying, this was really blown out of proportion. That is not the way you start out a conversation.
No, I don't think that she's very good at having these adult discussions. And to continue our streak of Disney references, which I feel like we're getting into a groove, Jen Bunny reminds me of the poor unfortunate souls with Ursula in The Little Mermaid. She's just like shrinking in misery.
Lauren says, I don't think you thought about me at all because you were only thinking about yourself. I don't even care about Brody. He was just the first guy I liked after Jason. How could you do this to me? And she calls Jen Bunny shady, evil, and conniving.
I mean, that is some next level accusation right there.
She's pretty harsh, I will say. She's mad at her.
And she holds her gaze, like she doesn't back down.
I do like that. Like, she holds her own.
Me too.
And she does really good with that, but she's definitely saying some really mean things.
I couldn't have looked someone squarely in the eye when I was 21 and fighting with them and held my ground like that. I definitely didn't have those skills yet in life. It wasn't all Brody. It was you.
My best friend made me feel bad and so low.
Elsie's got a crazy yellow stone on her right hand, like a ring.
Remember when that was ugly.
Yeah, but remember those days when celebrities would get engaged, it was always like a canary diamond, like J-Lo. And,
oh, yeah.
I don't know, Jessica Alba. I just made that up. I don't know what ring Jessica Alba had. But like everyone had that yellow engagement ring in those days. So I guess it was just like a popular stone.
Look, Jem, Bunny just wants back in the circle. She wants to be back on the show. She knows like her star has faded and she just wants to be back in the circle. And she realized that she traded this moment with Brody. Obviously, she did that for screen time, I'm sure. And it ended up backfiring on her, but not Brody.
So Lauren berates her incessantly about all the bad things that she's done. And this brings us to a quick discussion I think we should have about the mass confusion surrounding the term best friend on this show.
Oh my gosh, I was thinking that too. I'm like, wait, who all is your best friend? You can't have 3 or 4 best friends. Well, I mean, I guess you can, but...
There are so many best friends. I can't keep track. And all the things that you're not supposed to do when someone is your best friend.
It's so confusing.
It's exhausting. Like, I need to keep a list and remember this for my own life. Good Lord.
At the end of the day, Lauren says she can't trust Bunny, and that's kind of it. And Bunny kind of stays around a little too long. Like, she should have left a long time ago with a little bit of her dignity. She has zero dignity left when Lauren practically drags her to the door and kicks her out.
Do you have to let it linger, Bunny, like the cranberries? And she also does tell her you've screwed up a lot of relationships because of lies. And they have a conversation about Jason that you alluded to earlier from the lunch with Brody. And then Jen Bunny says Jason kiss was just a joke. I don't go around kissing people for jokes, Jen Bunny.
Bunny dramatically says, I will let you call me when you are ready. And it fades away to Bunny walking down the hallway, Lauren slamming the door. Does this episode of The Hills pass the Bechdel test?
We passed the Bechdel test this week because Audrina and Heidi had the conversation about the birthday surprise for Lauren. And for a hot minute, the girls were talking to each other when they were getting ready in their bathrooms. So this episode does pass. Thoughts? You're making a weird face.
Oh, Jem.
Uh-oh.
Really? Was that enough for it to pass?
I mean, yeah. There's two named female characters who speak to one another about something besides a boy. So it passes.
Okay, Jem.
Winners of the week.
Jem, I want to go first because I'm afraid you're going to steal my winner of the week.
If we have the same winner of the week, I will punch my iPhone.
Because you're not with me, and if you were with me, you would punch me instead of the iPhone.
I would take my Motorola Razr and throw it on the ground and it would break. Or I could just hold it in my hand and it would break, whatever.
Jem and Susan for Social Justice do not approve of punching people in the eye, to be clear.
We don't endorse violence in any way, shape, or form. We use punch in the face very liberally, but not literally.
Jem, my winner of the week is Spencer Pratt.
Oh, thank God.
Because it wasn't
Go
yours.
on.
Are you not shocked
No.
that Spencer was my winner of the week? In a non-sarcastic way.
I'm going to need you to elucidate.
Because I feel like I might have had him as my winner of the week before, but it was in a more sarcastic way. The reason why he was my winner of the week, which obviously we don't agree on this, so we've already discussed it, because he managed to hold himself back through Lauren's entire birthday. He must not have been drinking. And he didn't try to create a scene. He didn't try to make it about him. And when he had an opportunity to do so, he gave a toast that wasn't horrible.
Hey, everyone who's listening right now, pause your podcast and tweet us. Are you Team Jem or Team Susan on the speech? And what did you think about it? Because we are split way down the middle here from a sister standpoint, and we need you to jump in.
If you don't jump in and give us your opinion, our relationship could be fractured forever over this, and we will not be able to continue with Words Unspoken the Hills podcast. So we need your input, and it better be hashtag Team Susan.
You could destroy a family if you don't hashtag Team Jem, and you could also ruin a podcast for the rest of its long life.
Okay, Jem, who is your winner of the week?
My winner of the week was kind of one of these backhanded ones, like you mentioned with Spencer a couple episodes ago. My winner of the week was Brody Jenner, because he got away with everything.
Oh, that is a better one than Spencer.
He got to go to Lauren's birthday party. Lauren snuggled in his lap whilst Heidi and Spencer were making out late in the night. And he got to go to breakfast or whatever with Lauren outside with their whatever headband sitting outside thing that they did.
Jem
and Susan's funniest moments. Jem, I gotta say, I actually don't have a funniest moment for this week. When I was thinking over the episode, it's not like funny things didn't happen, but there wasn't something that really stood out that was like, oh, this is the funniest moment. So I'm gonna skip that one this week. Am I allowed to do that?
You can. I have one.
Good.
This is more like a chuckle. So it's like Jem's chuckle of the week. It was Heidi's version of Jen Bunny's visit to Bolt House as relayed to Lauren back at Hillside Villas, because it was so inaccurate.
Yes, that got a chuckle out of me as well.
There are some people in LA that are. There are some people in LA that are. There are some people in LA that are.
Jem, what's your pratfall of the week?
Obviously the speech, which made you pick Spencer to be the winner of the week. So we're just getting real confused with our awards show right now. Susan, did you have a pratfall?
My pratfalls of the week was just when he said that to Lo. Lo thinks
Lo
I'm
says
stupid, but that's it.
Lo said I'm dumb.
Emails, tweets, and Instagrams. Oh my!
Susan, we have so much social media to talk about. I will run through it very quickly, but our favorite hashtag right now is hashtag Team Elodie. It is sweeping the nation. If y'all need that spelling, I got it for you. It's ELODIE, hashtag Team Elodie.
Team Elodie, y'all!
Rumor has it there are actually shirts circulating out in the world, so check our social media for photos. We can't take the credit, so check out our reposts. Also, we wanted to remind our friends in the UK that you can watch The Hills on Hayu, Hayu. We're super jealous. We wish we had it. The most important social media thing that I want to discuss this week, Susan, is our petition that is sweeping the nation. It has 100,000 signatures already, and it is a petition to get The Hills on Netflix in the United States. And by 100,000, I mean 17 signatures. You can find the petition on our Twitter account. We'll be sure to keep it top of mind for you. And we'd love to welcome a few members to the Hills/Laguna Beach family. We've got 3 great sister podcasts that we've been talking with lately. Laguna Bitch, Tender Love and Conrad, and Coming Clean podcast. I'm just going to read a fun tweet that I enjoyed from the other day from Stacy WNEK. When you're feeling down about life, watch The Hills because nothing can feel worse than Elsie losing Jason, Heidi, and Jen all in one season. I have a second chuckle of the week from Gem's World, and it was the tweet from Seth Thomas, who's literally our favorite person in the whole world right now. And we were talking about how I was too busy to do an episode, and Seth said, I think we'll be okay as long as this isn't an episode 11 to episode 12 type of break. That would kill me. We agree with you. We can never let that happen again. Yeah, that's totally my fault, Seth Thomas. I also loved a tweet by Coming Clean podcast that I mentioned earlier, where we were all making jokes about The Hills, and they said, this is a movement, and attributed the quote to Polster.
Polster!
And friends, do not forget to rate, review our podcast on iTunes, and like our Facebook page.
Thanks for listening. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
You and all your pretty little friends up in the hills where the party never ends. Your schemes and your dreams when you're whole and you're broken. I'm telling all about it in my words unspoken.
So then we're back in the hills.
Is that a bird?
Yes, can you hear it?
Yeah, but it's kind of cute.
It's so loud. I feel I've heard birds before on the podcast, by the way. Or caught on that podcast. My jaw hurts. I've been eating gummy bears for 3 days.
Oh, good Lord.
And I think I popped my jaw.
You've been eating gummy bears for 3 days. Are you on like a gummy bear bender?
I mean, like for dessert.
I have one more thing to say about the scene.
Sorry, I'm going to cut it out. I have all the power here. It's all mine.
Speaking of Ursula.